Whether you're a presenter or someone speaking tonight, I'd like you to have the microphone within 3 inches of your mouth so we can hear what you're saying, please. And the presenters tonight are Mr. Ricken, Mr. Graziano, Shelley Gilson, and Peter Cushing. We're going to start with Sean. Attaboy, attaboy. Speak right up there.
Is that close enough? Want to make sure you're all right there. You can hear my voice probably from
Yes, I can.
the middle
Good.
school.
Can you
Appreciate
say
it.
welcome? Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for taking your time this evening.
So business-like.
I have a brief statement that I'd like to read concerning the budget story of Narragansett Regional High School. Narragansett Regional High School has used creativity to maintain quality programs despite a shrinking budget. The staff has worked diligently and cooperatively in this effort. We have shared and gained resources from the middle school that allow us to maintain programs such as robotics, character development, outdoor education, and adventure. We have absorbed cuts without sacrificing programs. Another example is we have shortened year-long courses into semester courses, like psychology and sociology, to give students exposure to various subjects without cutting programs. Also, we've been able to hire multi-talented teachers over the last few years that allow us for flexibility when creating schedules. For example, we've been able to hire a combination of a math and chemistry teacher and a business physical education teacher, as just a couple examples. This allows us to offer an array of subjects and classes within one full-time employment, or one FTE. We've contracted with outside organizations at a lower cost to run the Mandarin Chinese program, and are currently partnering with Mount Wachusett Community College and Edgenuity Virtual High School to expand our curricular offerings. We currently have 4 students at Mount Wachusett Community College, and we have 11 students in the virtual high school program. We've also been able to maintain a core of veteran teachers that understand our students and their needs. This year, each department polled their teachers and surveyed students to assess teacher expertise and student wants to create new programs such as mythology, creative writing, fitness, core body. Making cuts every year is certainly not an ideal situation. We've been able to maintain robust curricular offerings that keeps us competitive with area high schools. Lastly, it is our vision to keep class size down so that we can continue to provide students individual attention that supports them in their journey to graduation. Respectfully submitted, Sean Ricken, Narragansett Regional High School Principal.
Thank you, Sean. Are there any questions for Sean the Trader Ricken?
Oh, boy. I had a question about Edgenuity and how that worked, the virtual high school program. Is that do they do that full-time? Is it on campus? Or is it something that students do at home with a mentor or a coach?
It's all that. It can be
Okay.
part-time, it could be, we don't have anybody full-time. We really only have students taking one course. It can be all of that, though. They can take it at home, they can take it here. What I tried to do is, if we had somebody that was in the area of expertise, if it was a math subject and they had a directed study, I tried to hook them up with a directed study that was with a math teacher so that they could have a mentor that way. That's how we did it, to cut down the cost so we didn't have to pay anybody to be with them.
Right.
So that's how most every situation worked.
Okay. Is it working out well for the students enrolled?
We had 9 students enrolled in the first semester, and they all passed.
Okay.
That's a good thing. And I think 8 out of the 9 went on to take the second part. 1 did not, but we added 3 more students into taking a first part of other subjects.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Rickon.
Thank you.
Next up is John Graziano. He's the principal at Templeton Center and Baldwinville Elementary.
Hello.
Thanks, John.
Hello. Thank you. For me, the story began in 2012 with my entry to Narragansett, and I witnessed instantly that we had excellent and dedicated teachers and staff and very supportive parents and super kids. As I began to peel away the skin of the apple, I learned the following: that the buildings no longer met the educational needs of the students, that there was no comprehensive guidance program, there was no K-4 comprehensive written curriculum, there was inconsistencies with procedures for discipline, and there was no formal assessment plan. I took the opportunity to formally share this reality with the staff over a series of difficult conversations and dialogue, and they took the message to heart by first accepting ownership. Obviously, there are many circumstances beyond their control with regard to level 3 designation from the state. However, they met the challenge with hard work, consistent effort, and a positive can-do spirit. And fast forward to today, I'm very proud of the progress that has been made, and I'd like to just highlight a few of the accomplishments. We now have a K-4 comprehensive guidance program. In regards to curriculum, the teachers created and implemented a new standards-based report card. We're in year 1 of that. Professional development, curriculum, and instructional changes have led to substantial growth towards making AYP, and I believe we will make AYP. We now offer a K-4 health program. Students now benefit from individual, group, and classroom instruction supported by adjustment counselors and behavioral specialists. A new kindergarten teacher was hired. Regarding the building project is moving forward as demonstrated by our current feasibility study. The success of the feasibility study will move us to schematic design, which is the very next step in this important process. And the custodial staff have worked tirelessly to fix, repair, and keep our building safe and clean. Students, bus reports and discipline referrals have decreased dramatically. Detentions and suspensions have been virtually eliminated. In its place, students are given the opportunity to work with peers to solve problems and issues. By thinking for a change, students now own and are responsible for themselves and their behavior. We've made progress with assessment. Fountas and Pinnell Reading, Galileo Math. These assessments have been adopted. They give teachers valuable information about student progress, and they will continue to use this information to make informed decisions about improving instruction. And a way to do that is by examining and knowing the unique and different ways that all students learn well. The key for success has been our ability to use assessment as a means to improve instruction. Knowing that MCAST and high-stakes testing is not going away anytime soon, our ultimate goal is to always view our students as individuals first. And individual success will translate over time, I believe, to improvement on standardized tests. As often said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with taking one important first step. In the elementary schools, we've taken that step and many steps forward, and the challenges ahead will be difficult. Improving schools takes time, patience, and resources, and I want to thank the Budget Committee and the School Finance Committee for all your work during this difficult season. And the budgets before you represent actual expenditures, with one exception. We have a hands-on program called the Seeds of Science program, which is a wonderful way to teach, instruct, and assess science. And it does cost money, as you have to every year buy new kits and packets, but we're hoping to move forward with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions for the speaker? No.
Yes, I'm just wondering if
She wants to know if there's a site for the new elementary school. That's the Templeton Center site we're looking at.
That's not in this meeting. As far as I know, the site is going to be the Templeton Center site.
The village project is moving forward and demonstrated. So it was mentioned during the presentation. I just wondered, I mean, it's not a hard question.
Go ahead and answer.
Yes, Kate, currently, the site that's being investigated is the Templeton Center school site. And that's where the feasibility study will take place. Thank you. And we have questions.
Yes.
I'm sorry. With the new teacher evaluation system, the amount of evaluations being done, do you see that? I didn't ask this of the high school principal because I believe there are other personnel who can share the evaluations of the staff. You're the only elementary school principal, and it would be your responsibility to do the new teacher evaluation for all of the teachers in the elementary school. Will that have any budget impact?
I don't think so. One of the things, and Shantae is here, she's the principal at Phillipston, as you know, but she does some of the evaluations for the special personnel like art and music, and so that helps so that I'm not burdened with every evaluation.
Right. Okay. I just didn't know if there were going to be a budgetary impact.
I don't see that.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No, thank you, John.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks.
And now we'll hear from Shantae Gilson at Phillipston Memorial.
Hi.
Hi there. So I'm here to tell Phillipston's story. So this school year, we have currently about 170 kids in our building. 36% of them are on free and reduced lunch. Our class sizes are ranging from 17, which is fabulous, to about 25, which is challenging. So we also entertain the preschool program for the entire district, ranging from special needs children and typical children, and they provide a very diverse service in our district, and a really important one to get our kids ready for the academic rigor that comes in the elementary schools. Phillipston Memorial, as well as Baldwinville and TC, provide Title I services at Phillipston. We have a paraprofessional who works under the direct supervision of classroom teachers to support our kids that are in need of academic support for math and reading based on their academic performance and benchmark scores. We also provide special needs services, including a resource room, inclusive services, and a wide range of other services like PT, OT, speech, physical therapy, I said that, sorry, to support kids based on their individual education plans. In addition, we provide counseling services for kids in small group or individual based on their school adjustment needs. Our counselors are great. They don't get into the heavy-duty stuff, but they absolutely support what we're doing to help kids be successful in school. Our kindergarten through fourth grade students receive physical education, art, music, gym, health, and guidance services each week. They get gym 90 minutes a week, and the rest of the specialists instruct for 45 minutes a week, which is fantastic. The curriculum is changing, but it's good changes. Our kids are diving into math and science in exciting ways with the adoption of Engage New York and the Seeds of Science program that Dr. Graziani had mentioned, are really changing the way our kids are responding and engaging in the classrooms. They're talking and acting like mathematicians and scientists. To hear them actually talk about what they're doing, explaining their problems, explaining their thinking is phenomenal work. When you see a 5-year-old explain how you get 5 with different combinations, may not seem very complex to us, but for them, it's real-life problem solving, and our teachers are laying the foundation for that learning when they get to the bigger numbers, the division that's going on in 4th grade, or the problem solving that's going on in 3rd grade or 2nd grade. So a lot of hard work is being done. regarding that. When you see our kids experimenting with the science curriculum, second graders are making soda. That sounds like maybe not good with the health policy, but it isn't that way. They have to hypothesize, they have to observe, they have to mix, they have to measure, they have to write about it, they're reading about it. It's incredible work to watch. They're excited, they're engaged. If you have the opportunity to come watch it in action, it's fabulous stuff. Our teachers are working hard, the expectations are clear for our kids, and their achievement levels are going to rise. Our teachers and our students are using things that make it clear. So they're using rubrics, they're using self-assessment, they're looking at what they need to do and making great stuff happen. For example, our kindergarten, our preschool team, the teachers are now videotaping kids doing developmentally appropriate things for self-help skills. So say they come in to, and again, for us, it doesn't seem like a big deal to take off your coat, hang it up, take out your stuff, put it here, do this, do that, but that's pretty complex for a 3 or 4-year-old. And what our teachers are doing is they're taking that stuff and they're videotaping it and they're sharing it with the kids. This is what you can do. This is how you do it. They're sharing it with the parents. This is what we're doing. This is what they're doing here. Because a lot of times parents don't realize how independent their kids can be when given the opportunity to be. So, and they're using those video segments and sending them home and using them as part of learning. And the kids are seeing it and they're like, oh, wow. So it's great stuff that's going on. Our first grade teacher currently is meeting weekly with her students, and they're setting weekly goals regarding their learning centers. So they're really looking at their learning and ramping it up. That's what's happening right now. Our teachers are working diligently with the new curriculum and the Common Core. They're continually refining it, they're adjusting it, and they're meeting the needs of all of our learners in spite of a whole lot of challenges. They're ensuring that our kids are getting the best, and it's the forefront of what they're doing. They're meeting these challenges with limited time, limited resources, and a whole lot of mandates that don't necessarily make sense to us, but are important because we're being told to do them, and sometimes we don't know the big picture. And they're doing that because they know that it's good for our kids, and they want our kids to be successful. So our teachers understand the financial challenges of our district, and we have to remember that oftentimes our teachers are going out and they're getting stuff for their classrooms because they know it's going to help our classrooms. They're not asking for anything beyond that because they know it's good for kids. And I think that that's an important thing to highlight in our community, that our teachers are giving a lot more, but they're not expecting it back. They're doing it because they care about our kids. And I think that in this financial time, we need to realize that. The next point I'm going to talk about is our community and the involvement and the support we get. We have a great school council that comes and meets, and we talk about what we can do. At that school council meeting, we've got one parent who's working with the community, and they're talking about what we can do community-wise to build a playground behind the police station that the school will be able to work with, and they're talking about getting DCR grants, and that's because we're sitting at a table and having a conversation. Our PTG, our Phillipson Parent Teacher Group, they do a tremendous amount of work to provide enrichment programs that we can't provide because we don't have the resources, but they're doing it for us. We've had authors come in this year, we had them come in last year, which is a direct connection to our curriculum, supporting our learning, supporting our kids, and showing them how authors are real people and this is what they're doing, so our kids are getting that real life experience. I can't say enough about how much support they give us. The other thing is the volunteers, the parents, the teachers. This year we started a program under the direction of our occupational therapist. It's sponsored by Reebok. It's called BOX. It's called Building on Our Kids' Success. And what it is it's a before-school physical activity program. So they actually give us a curriculum. We went down to train down in Canton, and 5 of our parents actually went down for the training too. It was all free. So 2 mornings a week, 45 minutes, 35 minutes each morning. We have 30, it says here 28, but actually I learned this morning it was 32, so I apologize for that. Come in voluntarily, parents are dropping them off, and we're playing games, and we're getting physically active, and we're learning lifelong physical activity skills, and that's based on volunteer volunteerism. We have parents coming in, we have staff members coming in on their own time to do this. So I can't say enough about how much support we actually have in that realm, because they know it's important for kids. We have an incredibly supportive community regarding our buildings and our facilities. We need to consider and look forward as to how to plan for older buildings. We have some roof challenges, and we have some heating and ventilation challenges. But our community is supportive. It's just something to note. So we're doing a lot more with less, but that's because we have committed, dedicated people, and I think it's an important message to give you. Our students in our buildings have tremendous needs, but we're doing the best we can to provide for those needs, given the limited resources. So despite the many state and local challenges that we are faced with, our kids and our community and our staff are making great things happen. So as we're moving forward, we're envisioning our kids actively engaged, collaborating and working independently, setting goals for themselves, and meeting real-life applications, real-life challenges, so that they're ready for what comes next. And we see it happening. We see them taking ownership. So that's our story this year.
Very good, thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Gilson? No. None, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Cushing?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Part of my show and tell. So that you get a sense of...
Is it broken?
Nope, it is not. It just needs its extruder every now and again to be cleared. So while that heats up, I'll get started. The thrust of my discussion today is going to focus in 4 real areas of school leadership, and it's focusing on instructional leadership, which is generating the will in teachers and faculty and staff and making sure that they understand the expectations, building capacity in those teachers and staff, reorienting the organization, making sure that the school as an organization is focused on teaching and learning so that every student is maximizing their potential, and that we're maintaining the next step, a focus on equity. When we look at our students in North Central Massachusetts, we have certain unique challenges, and therefore, in order to make sure that they have an equitable approach to education, we need to go above and beyond what some other places might do. And then managing the mandates that come from federal and state levels. And those are the 4 big things that really go into the instruction, the leadership of the middle school. So looking at our story, over the last several years, we've achieved some really great academic success. Our students have demonstrated clearly that they are doing the work that needs to be done. They're working with faculty and staff, and our faculty and staff have really stepped up and are working hard for their kids. They're working diligently. They're doing what needs to be done to make sure that there are strong connections with the students of Templeton and Phillipston, as well as those who choose to attend our schools from other surrounding communities. The middle school last year had an influx of students choosing to come to our school, and I think that's a testament to our academic program. Over the past several years, Narragansett has been committed to developing a humanities framework, a humanities curriculum, so that our students don't see just a history teacher and then move on to an English teacher. They see a humanities teacher who blends English language arts and the social studies into a comprehensive, cohesive curriculum, so that that teacher gets to know that student in a very one-on-one manner. They get to know that student in a way that allows that student to develop as a reader and a writer. So rather than knowing 100 to 140 students, they know between 50 and 75 students. All right, this gives our teachers the opportunity to really get to know those students as readers and writers, to be able to conference with them, to be able to really work with our students to become better in those areas. Another area that I think has been a great initiative for us is Mr. Erickson and others really worked to bring the Engage New York math curriculum to our school. And that is an amazing and very rigorous curriculum. If you'll just give me 1 second. I apologize. I want you to see, when I get to our science and technology portion, what our students are actually doing. There we go. All right. So, right now, while it's doing it, the extruder on a long, this is a 6-hour print, will occasionally jam, all right, and just needs to be cleared. So right now, what it's doing is it's clearing the extruder so it can go back to printing. And what we're actually printing right now are parts for our VEX robotics program. So now that will resume and you'll be able to watch it. The humanities program, the math program, these things, we have really focused on increasing instructional time. And the increase in instructional time has paid dividends for our students. Parents and students alike report that they are able to address the math curriculum. And in a recent survey of faculty on my performance at the request of the superintendent, looking at principal effectiveness and different things like that, the teachers are responding that the increased time on math instruction has been one of the best things that they have seen. And it's not just coming from math instructors, it's coming from all levels of instruction and in all areas of the school. And our students have historically struggled in math. And by going with the research-based techniques and going with a new math curriculum, really focusing some professional development on our teachers to be able to help them improve has truly given us, I think, the opportunity to turn around our math instruction. We're shifting to the next generation science standards. Last year, we were able to acquire a 1-to-1 30 Chromebook cart, and our science teachers are doing great work, especially Miss Floria in the 7th grade, making sure that our students are doing the flipped model of education, where they're able to watch videos at home, they're able to participate, they're able to do many different things and engage in the curriculum in a much more rich fashion. I invite you to come in and see what Ms. Flory is doing. It's a great opportunity to see how students are moving forward. I was having a conversation with a parent the other day, and she was very interested to hear from her daughter that students were, all right, she figured that students wouldn't participate, that they would come in and things wouldn't be done. And the student reported that the students in her classroom had completed the things that they were asked to do and were ready to move forward. You see behind me another part of our STEM. Students are able to design, build in the virtual world, but then actually produce. All right? This is much more technologically advanced than most schools have in the area. We have up here a student donated the Xbox camera. It's an Xbox video camera that goes with the video game. Student donated that because that technology connected with this, we can scan anything up to a 6-foot human being. All right? And I'm going to pass around for you some examples of some student design things. And this is a ball bearing that was completely printed by the machine. There's a bust that a student designed and executed the build on. Here's a part of various robotics pieces that are being put into play. So the district doesn't have to purchase them. Each one of those takes about a 300th of the filament that you see here, and it's very cost effective. That's one of the things that we're always looking for at Narragansett Middle School is the best way to be cost effective. And our students are having robust experiences here. Our science, our STEM technology for technology engineering, the software needed to be replaced because it was on the Windows XP software platform. Windows XP, as many of you know, is no longer supported by Windows. So we needed to upgrade that last year, but that should last us another 10 to 12 years based on the life expectancy of the next software platform. You'll see in the graphics that I have there, our physical education department last year is piloting, with last year's budget, is piloting heart rate monitors. We're one of 2 schools in Massachusetts that we know of that are using heart rate monitors for some of our students. They're able to get real-time feedback on their performance in class, and what you can see in here on the left-hand side is you see the students' names, and the percentage represents their percentage of their maximum heart rate. So you'll look at Tegan, and you'll see that she's operating at 106% of her average heart rate, and other students where they are. The other picture represents the goal of this class is for students to operate in their target heart range, for 20 minutes or more. So you'll see where students are operating in their target heart range. I apologize for the pictures. It was really bright in the gymnasium when I took those. Our music program is really phenomenal. We do an amazing job with what we need, with what our teachers are able to do. We provide lessons to our students. We do an amazing job with what we have. Moving forward, we've done an amazing job as a faculty and staff making students feel welcome and coming to our middle school, and that really is the towns of Templeton and Phillipson supporting us with our budget over the last few years with the improvements that we've done. I hope that we're able to continue moving forward and doing the great things that we've been doing. And the last thing I'll say is that last year, I moved every single teacher in the middle school, thanks to our superintendent, Mr. Wakefield, with basically the same exact cost of the lease option over a 5-year period. Was able to move every single teacher in the middle school to a one-to-one device MacBook Air computers. And what this does, and this came through in the survey results as well, teachers are reporting that they're able to be much more their productivity has gone up, they're able to work from home, they're able to do a lot more things and be able to connect with their curriculum and connect with their students and connect with families because they have that ease of the device with them at all times. And I think it's a really great thing that we were able to do as a district to be able to support that. And we were able to, over a 3-year period, install in the entire middle school with a little bit of budget money here and a little bit of budget money there over a 3-year period to install, and you'll see one right above you, the AeroHive wireless devices that allow our middle school to be 100% wireless and have complete connectivity. And I look forward to working with my teachers on potentially a student bring your own one-to-one device if we're not able to put that into place as an entire district. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions.
Questions?
No questions, no questions. Thank you very much, Mr.
Anytime.
Kuchar.
Thank you.
You.
You got it.
Superintendent, do you have anything you wanted to add to the meeting?
I think that we need to talk about the timeline, because the governor's numbers and the Department of Ed release will be March 6th and March 9th they're doing some webinars. And so I'm concerned a little bit about our first hearing date when we really won't have any budget revenue numbers moving forward. So I'm a little concerned going to a budget hearing, not even knowing the numbers. So I don't know if you want to look at changing the date, or you want to keep the hearing and then, but then we might have to make some changes to before the second hearing.
Is there a timeline that you have to follow?
We always
You know.
did the 1st of March and the end of March. I think
Right.
that's what we typically did to give the towns, but I don't think that the budget is actually due until after that. I think there is a little wiggle room.
Okay.
And they usually had almost a full month's time between the 2 hearings. I mean, we could shorten the time between the 2 hearings and keep the second hearing where it is and have 2 weeks for feedback and input, because I think that's what the period between the 2 hearings is for.
But if the first hearing, okay, but if the first hearing is too early, they wouldn't, it may be inaccurate information that we're giving them.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think we'll
what
have
I'm
any,
concerned
we don't
about.
have any by March 10th, I don't think.
Right.
Right.
You still want to hold a March 3rd hearing, meeting?
Well, here's the issue. So if we go with March 10th, okay, we have to meet and make a decision, and then the school committee has to meet and take our recommendation and make a final decision before we go to the hearing. So I'm not sure how we're going to squeeze that all in, given our current situation with the revenues.
Well, we still have to hear from a couple of people, right?
Mike and
3, 4
Bill, I
people.
think you wanted them to come next time.
Yeah, so we'll do that on March 3rd,
Okay.
Okay.
okay?
So
And then-
March 3rd will be Mike and Bill.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else? I think that's all
What
you
about Ann?
wanted.
We need special ed, I believe. It's a
Oh,
big
special
budget.
ed? Okay.
Yeah.
So special ed, technology, and facilities. Ed is a different, he has a different fund.
Okay.
So
And then maybe we'll have further information at that time to make a decision coming up.
Okay,
Want to wait on that?
yeah, that's fine.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, make a motion to adjourn?
Well, I did have one, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I'll talk this much. Wondered if, with these presentations, if members feel they have the information from the schools that they need. For example, in the Phillipston one, you know the grades and you know the student numbers. You don't know that particularly in the other places. Do you at the high school, I believe? So you may not know what you need to have filled in right now. So we should set up a vehicle of an avenue for requesting information. So for example, if somebody's saying, okay, what does the class size look like? How many specialists do I have in Templeton Center, Baldenville schools? We need a vehicle to get that information out, maybe a Google Drive or some communication device. Do we feel we need this?
We're going to need it eventually, once we
Yeah.
get the numbers, and then we can figure out how that will all fit.
Right. So between now, well, March 3rd is next week, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we could do, you could do this as well on March 3rd, after you've read these and looked at them and found the gaps in what information you might need. You could come March 3rd and ask for that. Or, what's some other way we could do it? Do we open up a Google Drive
Well,
for?
or you
Yeah.
could just email Anne Marie, and so whenever anybody emailed her, we could get that information and bring it with us, so everybody has the information that was asked for.
So if you
That's
could-
probably the easiest.
So if you got it in writing on March 3rd, then you could look it over and come back to it at another time if you want,
Sure.
in another meeting, to chew it over a little bit.
That's right. And Anne Marie would have the email, so she'd be getting answers to those questions out
Okay?
in a timely matter as well.
All right.
It may be something to think about, instead of having a hearing on March 10th, would be to have another subcommittee meeting on March 10th.
I think that would make sense, because on March 9th, Anne Marie and I are going to sit in on a webinar to find out how the Department of Ed is actually working the numbers, so the minimum contributions and all that.
Right.
So the 10th we should hold as a date, but decide next week if we use it for a hearing or a meeting. It's fine.
Anything else, Tom?
Let me try to reiterate here. So we're not going to have the meeting on the 4th?
Well, that was a snow date meeting, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, that was a snow day
So
for tonight.
Yeah,
no meeting on the
No.
4th?
Next meeting is March 3rd.
Okay.
Anything else?
And then the 10th,
and then the 10th.
and then the 31st?
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
but we'll have to stick another meeting in
In
there.
between.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have
Yeah.
to stick a hearing in there.
See, I don't think we're going to have enough numbers to really crunch, and normally you hold a budget hearing when you've got all your figures and all your ducks in a row, and I don't think we're going to be at that point on March 10th. We'll have to see what comes down the
No,
road.
I agree.
I'll get all the legal timelines that we got to hit and when we have to hit them, and bring them next time.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, we haven't opened or closed the warrant yet for the annual town meeting. So there is
Right.
that procedure. Plus, we also are required by bylaw to give the town budget to the advisory board by a certain date.
Okay.
So we're having our budget hearing next Monday.
Yeah, it's so hard to know what you're going
Yeah.
to put in for the school.
Right.
And we have a guesstimate, but I don't know if that will, what you saw, the
On-
material I gave
yeah.
you, that was just taking a stab at the revenue figures that I thought maybe, kind of based on last year's
Right.
minimum when it went up. I gave them out last time, but again, it's really just a guesstimate.
Yeah, there's really no way to predict. I mean, especially with the budget shortfall that is being dealt with now,
Right.
how that will impact what the budget will be, the governor's budget will be.
Right.
Not just for education, but everybody.
Oh, I know, it's
Yeah.
kind of frightening in a way, especially the winter, and then the governor, and the way our past governor was really pretty nice about predicting revenues, to be, more optimistic. I'm not sure this governor's going to do that.
Probably not.
Right. So, I don't know, so we're still working, Anne Marie and I are working on trying to balance the budget even with the numbers we have here. So we'll also go through a process of trying to figure out what we might have to cut if in fact the revenues fall short of what we've just estimated.
Okay.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
No, you're supposed to make the motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
You can